Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Young, welcome back in person to the House Budget Committee, and congratulations on your confirmation. It was way overdue, and congratulations on your new child. A lot has happened in a year, so we're grateful you're here. When you testified last year on President Biden's fiscal year 22 budget, alarm bells were already going off about the impact that the president's agenda would have on the economy, what it would have on the inflation, and the security of our southern border. At that time, the crises created by President Biden and the House and Senate Democrats' agenda were already piling up. That list has only grown since, including an energy crisis, with folks paying over $4 a gallon at the pump. In fact, since President Biden has been in office, gas prices has went up 79%. That's tough for the folks back home. Then there's a crime crisis in communities across this country and an education crisis that has perpetuated the mistreatment of kids in our schools under the guise of COVID-19. So now we have President Biden's fiscal year 23 budget, a proposal that deliberately makes every crisis American families are facing because of President Biden and the one-party Democrat rule in Congress that much worse. American families are facing a spike in prices not seen in this country in over 40 years. A $3,500 inflation tax on every family in America just last year alone. The president's budget keeps the reckless spending going on, doubling down on the delusion that the answer out of inflation is to spend more money. This proposal spends $73 trillion over the next 10 years. And also, it provides the Build Back Broke agenda, which this budget tries to cover up using a deficit-neutral reserve fund. The Congressional Budget Office, though, has confirmed there is nothing deficit neutral about the agenda. CBO confirmed it adds $3 trillion to our nation's debt. As gas prices have skyrocketed, the president's budget surrenders American energy independence and attacks American energy companies so that we are more reliant on foreign nations for our energy needs, more dependent on countries like Russia, China, and Venezuela, Iran, at a time when the world seems to be even more of a hostile place. This budget also includes potentially up to $4 trillion in tax increases, more than $1.5 trillion of that falling on American families. $2,000 for every average American tax increase is in this proposal. That is absolutely terrible. Then under the Build Back Better agenda, you have covered up in a deficit-neutral reserve fund over the next 10 years. Biden's budget calls for $58 trillion in total taxes, the highest sustained tax burden in American history. And while folks see their taxes go up and the value of their paychecks go down, Biden's budget gives a 12% raise to the IRS to target hardworking Americans. We already know where this type of tax and spending agenda is going. Look at the past year after the Democrats' $2 trillion Biden bailout bill was signed into law. Jobs in 2021 grew less than CBO said they would before that $2 trillion spending bill came on the scene. After over 2.9 million border encounters occurred since Biden took office, the president's budget continues the same catch-and-release policies that have resulted in the worst border crisis in over 20 years. There's no commitment to border security in this budget, no using the $1.9 billion in border wall funding that was just renewed as part of the most recent omnibus spending bill. The budget allows $350 million in border wall still to continue rusting away, while contractors are paid billions to babysit unused material. It cuts funding for immigration and customs enforcement by $150 million. All of it is a slap in the face to the men and women dealing with security and humanitarian crisis at the southern border. The president says, "Show me your budget, and I'll tell you what you value." For the second straight year, we see the president values a government that tells its citizens how to live their lives. He values an economy where everything from the clothes you put on your back to the food you put on your table to the gas in your car is more expensive. He values open borders and energy dependence. He values debt, a lot of it, $16 trillion to be exact. The American people are not going to buy this budget because, frankly, we can't afford it. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.